Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4, text 10. Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Manmaya Mam Upashritaha Bahavo Gnana Tapasa Puta Madbhavamagataha. So Krishna explained that his birth and his activities are transcendental. And in this verse, he explains that if one becomes curtailed or one becomes affected by these three qualities, you cannot understand the transcendental nature of Krishna. So, what are these three things that one should not become limited with? Raga, Bhaya, and Krodha. Attachment to the body and anything material. Bhaya, which is fear, and Krodha, anger. So Krishna says, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. One should be freed from, Vita means freed. Freed from Raga, Bhaya, and Krodha. Attachment, fear, and anger. And how that is done? Manmaya Mam Upashritaha. By always thinking of me, by taking a refuge in me, Mam Upashritaha. And Krishna is giving examples. A lot of people have done this and attained that freedom. Bahavo Gnana Tapasa, with their austerity, they attained this knowledge of me and they became purified. Puta and Madbhavam Agataha. They have attained transcendental love for me. Bhavam Agataha. So you see how these three things are mentioned. One should become freed from attachment to this body. Prabhupada writes nicely in the purport. It is very difficult for a person who is too materially affected to understand the personal nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Generally, people who are attached to the bodily conception of life are so absorbed in materialism that it is almost impossible for them to understand that there is a transcendental body which is imperishable, full of knowledge, and eternally blissful. So, Krishna's body is Satchidananda Vigraha, full of knowledge, eternity, and full of bliss. And for one who is attached to this material body, which is Asat, Achit, and Nirananda, it is very difficult for them to comprehend and understand how the Supreme Lord has this kind of transcendental body. So one should become freed from that attachment. That is why in the beginning stages, the scriptures mention Virat Rupa, who cannot accommodate that God can be a person like you and me. They say, okay, imagine God to be this universe. Oh, then I understand. Oh, God is nothing but universe. Oh, God cannot be a person. God is just universe. They think like that. But that is just a next step in evolution. But God actually is a person who has a transcendental body. One should not project our limitations to God's body. Krishna has got transcendental body. So we cannot appreciate Krishna's body if we become attached to our body. In Vrindavan, when Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami went, they became sannyasis, mendicants. And they would sleep under a tree, and every night they would sleep under a different tree. Why? Because they were so careful that they should not be attached even to one particular space under a tree. So many times we take to spirituality, but our attachments to material things still exist. We become attached, even if you take to spirituality, we become attached to the place we reside. Like our grand spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would lament. He built a beautiful marble temple in Calcutta. But when he saw that his disciples, some of them, they were fighting over which quarters, which rooms they want, based on the nice amenities, he became very upset. We are supposed to give up attachment to anything material, but he saw his disciples becoming attached, still on the platform of attachment. So this attachment runs very deep. What to speak of materialists, they're completely on the bodily platform. So the formula how to get detached is not merely by giving up. You cannot give up any attachment. You can replace attachment to something spiritual. Because our nature is to get attached to something. That is the nature of the soul. By nature, we want to be attached to Krishna. But if you become detached from matter and not have anything positive, you will again go back to matter. In Chaitanya Charita Amrita, there is one Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. He is the son of Tapan Mishra, who comes from Varanasi. And he wants to completely dedicate himself to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very interestingly, he orders him, not now, you go back to your family, do not marry, and take care of your parents, and then you come back and study Srimad Bhagavatam under a pure Vaishnava. And so he does that. He goes back, he remains a bachelor, and he takes care of his elderly parents. And then when they die, he comes back and then stays under the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 8 months. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he then orders him to go to Vrindavan and be under the care of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, and always chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and study Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him 2 gifts. What are these gifts? Transcendental gifts. He obtained them from Jagannath's prasadam in Puri. So he gave him unspiced betel nuts, that prasadam remnants of Jagannath, as well as a tulsi mala, a very long tulsi mala that was offered to Jagannath, that was given to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that he gave to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. And Raghunath Bhatta, he cherished it so much that he preserved them very, very carefully. And he took it all the way to Vrindavan, and he would keep it very safe, and he would wear it occasionally, and he would become ecstatic thinking about it. You see how he was a great Goswami. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord himself. He's giving a transcendental gift, and that has been cherished, and he became so attached to it. So this is needed. Becoming detached does not mean that we become detached from everything, including Krishna. That is what the Mayavadis do. Impersonalists. They say everything is mithya. Ultimately, we have to become zero or formless, go and merge into the absolute truth, which is impersonal, some effulgence. No. Ultimate reality is there in the spiritual world. This is a perverted reflection. The real substance is there in the spiritual world. This is only a sample pleasure. Like sometimes we go to these stores and they give some sample, isn't it? Sample food, sample snack. So if I were to take you to all these different stores throughout the day and were to give you only samples, will you become happier? No, you will not become happier because you want to actually taste the real thing. Oh, I want a full meal. I don't want the samples anymore. So this material world is only a sample. If you go for the real pleasure, you will be frustrated because the real pleasure is there with Krishna. It's like trying to catch the reflection when the real substance, just like the tree is there. Krishna mentions this beautiful example. The tree is there on the shore, but the reflection is falling on the water. So you see the fruit on the water or reflected in the water on the tree, and you try to catch that fruit, you'll be frustrated because the real fruit is there on the tree. So the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, the problem is that they reject everything of this world as Maya, which is all right, but they cannot attach themselves to higher reality, the real substance, Krishna, and therefore, because of want of the real attachment, real substance, real satisfaction of the soul, they come back and fall down to this material world again. Like the Mayavadi sannyasis, who say that Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, the Brahman is truth, the impersonal effulgence is truth, and this world is Mithya Maya. They give up everything, they take sannyasa, but again they come back and do various activities in this world, like opening hospitals, charitable activities. Why? You say everything is Mithya, you wanted to merge into effulgence, then why you are doing it? Because they cannot get attached to something higher. So they have to come and get attached to something lower. So you see, in the path of bhakti, Krishna consciousness, the higher attachment is there, which can conquer the lower attachment. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So when you try to detach from matter, that taste remains. But when you get attached to Krishna, Param, the higher taste, Nivartate, the lower taste is conquered. That is why these Goswamis, you see how Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was so attached to the gifts of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How the great devotees are attached to worshipping a particular deity. Gadadhar Pandit in Jagannath Puri, he took something called Kshetra Sannyasa. Means he took a vow not to give up residing in Puri and go anywhere else. He was so attached to staying in the holy dham. The devotees become so attached to chanting the holy names of the Lord, worshipping a favorite deity, attached to their service, come what may. They become so attached to their service. You see, Srila Prabhupada himself, he fought several battles, even materially, court cases, and externally it may appear like, oh, he is a great transcendental personality, spiritual personality. Why he is fighting like an ordinary materialist? That is the difference between a devotee and a Mayavadi. A Mayavadi is not attached to anything, including Krishna. A devotee is attached to everything, including everything that belongs to Krishna. For Krishna, not for himself. So a devotee, a pure devotee also can fight like Arjuna, like Hanuman. There are several devotees in our line. It appeared as if they were attached to their opulence. They were kingly, but they were doing it as a service to Krishna, and they would do anything to protect the interest of Krishna. So that is real attachment. So that is raga. And then bhaya. Bhaya means, again, so raga is for the karmis, bhaya is for the impersonalists who become fearful of a body in the spiritual world. Oh, another body? Oh, here because of my body, I'm struggling so much klesha. Again, I have to get spiritual body? No, no, no. I don't want it. So they're so fearful. Bhaya. So that's why they want to become nirvisesha. So you have to cross that also. So raga, bhaya, and krodha. Krodha means these voidists. So raga is karmis, bhaya is impersonalists, krodha means voidists or atheists, you can say. They become frustrated. Oh, which is right? There is bhakti is right or Mayavada is right? No, no, no. I don't. They become frustrated about all this. They say nothing exists. When we die, everything is annihilated. So that is basically Buddhism, voidism. Krodha, they become angered about all these things. And so they want to annihilate their existence, become void. So you have to cross that also. So Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, we have to become freed from these three things. That is one meaning. Or we have to become freed from attachment, fear of losing out this body, and anger which is arising because of our frustration of not being able to enjoy this body. That is also another meaning of this verse. So we have to become freed from these three things, and we have to practice Krishna consciousness. Manmaya mam upashritaha. Mam upashrita means we take shelter of Krishna, not directly Krishna. We take shelter of the pleasure potency of Krishna or Radharani. That is why when we chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, it actually means, oh Hare, oh pleasure potency of Krishna, oh Radharani, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, engage me in the service of Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama also actually means Krishna, because the meaning of Rama means one who gives transcendental pleasure. So again the same meaning, Hare Rama, oh pleasure potency of the Supreme Rama or Krishna, please engage me in his service. That is called Mam Upashritaha. So if you want to be freed from Raga, Bhaya and Krodha, you have to take shelter of Radharani. And that is simplified when one chants the holy name. It is akin to taking shelter of Radharani. That is why we put so much focus on chant. Chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Even if we don't have taste now, take a vow and do it. Complete your vow. Eventually the taste will come. Because when you attentively hear Krishna, Krishna is a supreme transcendental pleasure, supremely attractive. Mathura Mathura Metan Mangalam Mangalanam. The holy name is the sweetest of the sweetest, the most auspicious of all auspicious. So, Sumanmaya Mam Upashritaha Bahavo Gnana Tapasa. Lot of people, lot of transcendentalists have done this in the past by practicing Gnana Tapasa. So here another principle is given. If you want to attain transcendental knowledge, you have to perform austerity. What kind of austerity? Like austerity of Hiranyakashipu, standing on one leg? No. Austerity for us means two things. One is sadhana and one is service. Sadhana means particularly austere sadhana, early morning sadhana. Even though we don't like to wake up early, we have to take austerity, tapasya. It is simplified in Kali Yuga. Especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu simplified so much. Or Acharya simplified so much. Prabhupada simplified so much. Otherwise, tapasya means what? You have to meditate for years and years. You have to practice so much of fasting. You have to meditate, putting a fire around you in hot summer and going in the cold water in winter. These kinds of austerities people used to practice. But our austerity is simple. Waking up early, chanting the holy names, attending Mangalarati, performing services, sadhana and services. Take up austerity, austere services for the spiritual master. Even though our mind says, no, I cannot do it. It's very difficult. No, if you do it day in and day out, even if it is difficult for you, that is called tapasya, and that gives knowledge, transcendental knowledge. The spiritual master, when he becomes pleased, he gives that transcendental knowledge. And gnana tapasa puta, you become purified and become mad bhava magataha. You attain transcendental love for me. So this bhavam is the last but one stage before you attain prema. So Prabhupada gives these 9 steps. First, adav shraddha, tatah sadhu sangha. First, we need to have faith, adav shraddha. We need to have faith in this spiritual process, Krishna consciousness. And then, sadhu sangha, associate with devotees. Very important step. If the faith has to become strong, there has to be association with devotees. Only when we look at the devotees, we become similarly strong in our faith. We become inspired by their practices. So, adav shraddha, tatah sadhu sangha, tatah bhajana kriya. Bhajana kriya means serving the Lord by accepting initiation. That is the next higher step. Association of the devotees should lead to taking more commitment and service to the spiritual master by getting initiated. And then by continuing to do this service, we become anardha nivrutti. That is the 4th stage. It's a very long stage. Anardha nivrutti means becoming cleansed of all our anardhas. We have so many anardhas, so many bad habits, so many addictions, so many concoctions. All those anardhas have to be nivrutti, become freed. But that will become freed when you staunchly engage in devotional service. Then we become nishtha. That shraddha becomes nishtha, means strong faith. And then comes ruchi. Ruchi means taste. You don't do it anymore out of compulsion or force. You do it naturally because you're tasting the ecstasy. You're not, you don't have to be followed up with. You do it because you're relishing it. And asakti becomes, you become attached to something of Krishna's service. And then bhava means the stage before love of Godhead, is just like before the sunrise, there is a tinge of red that happens in the sky even before the sun comes out in its full glory. So that is called the glimpse of love of Godhead. So bhava means that. So Krishna says here, Puta mad bhava magataha. You can attain transcendental love for me by manmaya mam upashritaha, by practicing Krishna consciousness, by taking shelter of Radharani. Or the spiritual master is also the representative of Radharani. So that's what Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that in the prema stage there is constant engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So by this slow process of devotional service under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, one can attain the highest stage, being freed from all material attachment, which is raga, from the fearfulness of one's spiritual identity, personality, which is bhaya, and from the frustrations resulting from void philosophy, which is krodha. Then one can ultimately attain to the abode of the Supreme Lord. So I'll stop here. Any other questions or comments? Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada